Hello, this is Bashar Masad from MKN Group. In this short video, we're going to go over the Grandstream UCM6200 IPPPX programming and initial setup. I would like to thank everybody for the positive feedback I got on the first video about the UCM6100 series, and I think it's time to have a new one now, as Grandstream added many features, and also the most important thing, they have changed the interface so it doesn't look like before. So the concept still the same. How do you add your trunks? How do you add extensions, inbound, outbound routes? But let's go quickly over the setup just to get you up and running. So first of all, the good thing about this series is the password is written on a label on the back of the device itself, just in case if you lose it, or if you want to change it and you're sure that you're not gonna lose the password again, you may change it. So let me log in. And of course you can see here the interface is a little bit different, but anyway, let's go over this. The first thing about the connectivity, which I get many questions about, how do we connect, especially the UCM6200, which has a built-in router. For the others, basically it's just you connect it to your LAN port. For the UCM6200, you have a WAN with W and the LAN with L. So the the WAN, if you want, there are two different methods. The first one, you connect the WAN to your network, and then you connect the LAN with an L to a switch, and that switch will have your computers connected to, and then you have kind of a separate network for your phones. You have for your phones connected to that switch. The other way that I like is immediately to log in and go to network settings and change it to a switch. I don't know, everybody has his own way. I like this way, so I just make the PPX as a switch. I connect the WAN port to my network, and then I can connect the phones to anywhere in my network using the same switch, different switch, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we see that the system status page is a little bit different, so we're gonna go over that later. The first thing that I did before I started recording is to go and create a new trunk. So you can have, of course, an analog trunk, a VoIP trunk. So I created a VoIP trunk, and as you see, it's VoIP time. It's our VoIP company, and if you go here, very simple. You just put the IP address or the host name of your service provider. This is like your username, authentication ID. They may be the same, they may be not. And then the password you got there. And basically that's it. These things, if you want to keep trunk CID when the call comes in, or you don't want it. But as I said, this video is about getting up and running quickly. So after you do that, you save, and then apply changes. Don't forget to apply changes, because then whatever you saved is not going to take effect immediately. So basically now this one's supposed to be registered, unless I did some mistake with the password or anything else. So if I go back to system status and then go to dashboard, I see it's not registered yet. So I have to check and get back to you. Maybe something in the connection. I'll get back to you soon. Okay, so I have checked. It was wrong password. I missed one digit. So you can see now that the trunk, its VoIP time is registered. When you create the trunk, by the way, there are two ways. You can connect it as a registered trunk, or you can connect it as peer trunk. So let me go back and just create a new SIP trunk. See here, you can either choose peer or register. Peer, when you have your provider only accepting you by your IP address. So basically you have a static IP, you give it to your provider, and they authenticate your SIP trunk using that. Register, when they give you a username and password, so you can register your trunk with them. So that's the first step, is to have that trunk registered. Then we're gonna move to extensions. So basically you can create extensions here, but before you do that you need to decide what kind of, like, what's the naming convention, or like, you know, how many digits do you want your extensions to be. Do you want them from 20, let's say, to 30, or you want them 200 to 500? So that thing you decide here by going to PPX settings and then general settings. If you scroll down here, you see the user extensions. Here it's from 1000 to 6299. Let's say this is just a small office, so we're going to go from 20 to, let's say, 30. And here pick extensions. So this is like, you know, reverse of zero config, where you find the extension and send the programming to it. It's the other way around. So we just put it from 30 to 30 because I'm not going to use it. And here is the auto provisioning, which is very important. That means I'm going to push the programming from the PPX to the Grandstream phone. That works only if you have a Grandstream phone. So I'm going to put from 20 to 29. So basically 20 to 29 will be our pick extension. Stars value cannot be greater than the end value. I'm not sure what does that mean. 29. Here we're gonna put 28 and then save, and then apply changes. Perfect. So now we know the range that we're gonna create. I'm going to create 3 extensions now. I'm gonna use two of them and keep just the third one there. So then I go here to extensions and trunks, then hit extensions. I can add 1 extension at a time here, or I can add batch of extensions. So create number, let's say extension increments 1. How many extensions you're going to create? I'm going to say 3. Here it's very useful, the incrementation, when you have, let's say you want to create let's say 20, 30, 40, 50, so then you put the increment as 10. So the extension is 20. Here's something that you're going to save yourself lots of work. So basically permission. We have like multiple permissions for any extension. Internal, well, again, the naming is a little bit confusing, but I'm going to explain how it works. So internal, just give it to extensions that will call within the office, like within each extension. Local, that's extensions calling, like, let's say, local area code. National, nationwide. International, they can go like, you know, 011 and the number. So I'm gonna put all extensions I'm gonna create as national. You can assign a voicemail password. You can keep them with the same SIP password, which you're gonna use for programming the phone. Now again, if you're gonna use Grandstream phone and push, we're gonna see in a minute, then it doesn't matter because the phone is gonna, that PPX is gonna send it anyway. So then we hit save. It's gonna say 2021 and 22 will be created. Hit OK. We see that all created, and we hit apply changes. Now that's good. So next step will be the outbound routes. Outbound routes, actually you're telling the PPX how do you want to send the calls out. If you do not create any outbound route and try to dial, you're gonna get a busy signal, or circuits are busy or something like that. So the easiest thing is, let's say, create a main rule. And that these are the patterns. If you're familiar with Asterisk, it's actually the same. So here the pattern is what kind of calls you're going to allow out. So the first thing that comes to my mind is 911. I want anybody dialing 911 for the call to go through. Please check with your provider. Many of the providers do not allow 911 by default. You have to kind of sign a consent form about 911 service, and then they will open it for you. So, you know, just be careful with that. Then I'm gonna say, okay, people are going to dial 10 digits or 11 digits. So here I can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That means if you dial 10 or 11 digits, it's going to pass the code. Please check with your provider. Some providers, they ask you, okay, I want 11 digits all the time. If you pass me 10 digits, I'm not going to accept it. For example, our service, it's VoIP time. We don't care. If you send us 10 or 11 digits, we'll be able to handle it. Now, and if you want to add an international route, like, you know, you want your employees to be able to call international, you can put 011 dot. That means anything start with 011, whatever comes after that is going to be allowed. Although the extension, where you remember when we created the extension, we put them on national. But as I said, these names are a little bit confusing. It's just for comparison. You're going to see here what I mean. See here, privilege level. Privilege level, whoever going to use this rule must have a privilege level equal or higher than this one. So basically, if I put it national, extensions with national or above which means international can still use it. If I keep it national, I'll put the 011, then they still can make international calls. That's why I said the naming is a little bit confusing, but it's okay. National. And this is a very important, which SIP trunk. If you have multiple SIP trunk, this is important because maybe you want to send the international calls through, let's say, your SIP trunk, the local calls through your analog trunk. So here you decide where you want to put this one. And strip and prepend, we're going to see, I'll create another rule and show you how we use strip or prepend. So we hit save. So now basically we have a rule that all extensions with privilege national can use this rule. I'm going to create another rule, and that's, I'm going to call it local, because many areas they say, okay, I don't want to dial 10 digits, I want to dial 7 digits, and I want the system to add the 3 digits of the area code, just because some people are really used to that. So that's fine. What you do here is in the pattern, you're gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here you change privilege level to national, and then you go down and use the same SIP trunk, which is the only one. Prepend here, I prepend the area code, so which in this case is 973. So basically, if you dial 7 digits, your call will go through, but it will assume that you're dialing area code 973. Now, if you have a failover trunk, let's say if you have 2 trunks and you say this is the main, but if the call fails for any reason, use, let's say, the analog line or another one. Okay, as I said, we try to make this as simple as possible, and then we will have, like, you know, more videos about like different scenarios. So basically now we're ready to make outgoing calls. But what about incoming calls? That's the inbound route. The inbound route is, like, you know, every trunk we have, we're going to create inbound routes for that trunk. So because this is the only one we have, we're going to add a rule. And basically, the pattern is from where the call comes from. The easiest thing is just put dot. Dot means anything coming from this trunk accepted through this rule. And this rule will say, just put it to extension 20. As simple as that. This means any call comes from SIP trunk, it's VoIP time. Dot means anything, regardless who called, what's the caller ID, no restrictions. It's gonna go to extension 20. That's it. Save. So now we know that this number that we had, any call to that number is going to come to extension 20. Now we can add more complicated rules, like based on the number called. For example, if you have excuse me, if you have SIP trunk, let's say with 3 numbers on it, and 2 numbers you want to take them to the receptionist, which extension 20, but another number you want to take it to the manager, it's his direct number. So you add a rule, and here instead of putting the dot, you put the number that was called, not the caller ID of the person who's calling. No, it's what number he called, and then you say, oh, this is going to go to extension 22, which is the manager. I'm going to cancel this, I'm not going to put it. Okay, so basically we need one more step and we'll be ready to make and receive calls. The last step is to program the phones with extensions. And as I said, if you have, I have 2 phones connected to this system. One of them is a Grandstream GXV3240, and the other one is a Fanville X4 phone. So for the, go here, value added. Okay. So we go to 0 config, and basically if you're lucky and your network is organized well, the PPX will find the phone for you. So it found this phone. Here's the IP address, and what you need to do, very simple, because again it's a Grandstream phone. You hit edit and you go here, accounts. I say I want to give this one extension 20. Of course, there's so many other things you can do with the programmable keys, everything. And actually you can create a template. Let's say you have 5 of these phones. The only difference will be only the extension number, then create a template. But we're not going to do that right now. We just said, okay, this phone must have extension 20, set. And now we're gonna, you see this one update. That means if I click this one, it's gonna send the programming to the phone. And just to let you know, like the Android phones that Grandstream has, like the 3240 and 3275, they're a little bit tricky using 0 config. I'm looking at the phone right now. I don't see that anything was pushed to the phone. So one other thing I can do is actually reboot the phone. See here where it says create config. When this one is, when you have a date and time, that means the config was created. And so far I don't see it created. So let's do something. Let's reboot the phone. So that many times help. And I intentionally chose, like, you know, the 3240 because I know that these Android phones, they're not easy to program with the 0 config. Lots of times for some reasons it's not going there. The programming is not being pushed to the phone. So, and even now what I see is I pushed restart and phone also did not restart. Let me try one more time. Okay, so it did not. Wow, again, maybe this is a good thing to learn what we should do. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go physically to the phone, unplug it, and plug it back again. Okay, while we do that, let's program the other phone. The other phone, as I said, is a Fanville phone. I'm going to give it extension 21. So basically, I cannot use 0 config because, again, it's not a Grandstream phone, but still very easy to program. I go to extensions, and then I choose extension 21, which I'm going to give to the Fanville phone. I look at the phone and get the IP address of the phone, and here you can see that I'm logged into the phone, address 101. The only thing I need to do, and this is not only for the Fanville, it looks like it timed out, for any other phone. Okay, don't keep admin as I kept here just for training. Please change the password. So go to line, and here's SIP1. It's inactive. I'll say active. Username will be 21 because of the extension. Display name, you can put whatever you want. I'm going to put 21 for now. Authentication name is going to be 21. And password, you go here and you take this password. If you want to see it, you click this here, and then this is the password. You hit copy, go back to the Fanville phone and hit paste. The server name is whatever you want, but I prefer just to put the IP address of the Grandstream server. And here also the server address is the Grandstream. Make sure you hit active. That's basically the only thing you need to do. And you hit apply, and if we did everything right, we're gonna see it registered. So now this extension is ready to use. Of course, you can do many things here, like, you know, with the phone book, you can do like a phone settings, you can do lots of things with the function keys, but basically, you know, the phone is ready to accept calls. So if I go to here and go back to system status and go to dashboard, I see that there is, where is it? This is just showing, should show us number of extensions. Okay, so it shows trunks. I don't see extensions here. Okay, so Bob, there's another way to look at the extension if it's registered. Oh, here, I'm sorry. So it says extensions 1 of 3 is registered. Now 2 of 3. Suddenly, see, it changed. That means the Grandstream phone, after I manually rebooted it, it got the configuration. So if I go back to value added and hit 0 config, you're gonna see the file created here. So if I go to extensions, here I see 2 of them in green, which is 20 and 21, which is the only 2 phones I have with their IP addresses. So now basically the system is ready to work. So we don't have, like, you know, I'm gonna go over like creating an IVR or a ring group or stuff like that, but basically the system now is working. So if I dial the number associated with that trunk, which is, let me dial it from my computer. I'm going to dial it to see. Of course, as we programmed it, extension 20 should ring. Oh, by the way, there's something nice here you can do. Go to system status, go to active calls. Of course, now no active calls. Okay, so now I'm gonna call from my computer to that number. Let's see what's gonna happen. Hope you hear that and you see. Of course, I'm calling from computer. And then extension 20 is ringing, which is the Grandstream. So now, hello? Hello? Okay, perfect. So it worked. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to call from 20 to 21. And while you're looking here, hello? 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 Okay, you can see that 20 is calling 21. And believe it or not, it's already done. Now, there are a few things that we can do, most of the companies will do. And I'm going to create 2 things. I'm going to create a ring group, and also I'm going to create an IVR. So basically, let me go and under call features, I'm gonna call create a ring group. Ring group basically is having two or more phones ringing together or one after another for a call. I'll explain more. So if I add a new ring group and I'm gonna call it main ring group, or let's say I'm gonna call it reception. What happened? Okay, oh, I cannot put spaces. Reception. Okay, here you have the three available extensions. I'm gonna put 20 and 21 in it. Let's assume that both of these extensions are at the reception and I want them to ring together. Here, ring strategy, very important. Ring in order, that means 20 will ring first, then 21. If I change it to ring simultaneously, that means both of them will ring at the same time. Here, very important thing, timeout. What's gonna happen, like, you don't really want the phone to ring for 60 seconds, the two phones. So I'll say, okay, you know what, I just want the ring to be 30 seconds. Now, if you put ring simultaneously, they both will ring for 30 seconds, then you're gonna go to the final destination. If you put ring in order, each one will ring 30 seconds. So the 20 will ring 30 seconds, then after that, 21 will ring 30 seconds. And here, enable destination. What do you want to do if nobody answers? If both, here I have a choice. Maybe I'll send it to a different extension, a different group, or an IVR. But here, let's say I'm going to put it to voicemail, not ring group voicemail of extension 20, which is the main receptionist. So basically, this is what's going to happen. Both phones are going to ring, and then if nobody answers, it's going to go to extension 20. So I'm going to change this to 10 just now for, when we do our test, so we don't have to wait long time. So both extensions will ring, and then we're going to go for 10 seconds here, and then we're going to go to extension, the voicemail of extension 20. But that's not enough. Now I have to go to my inbound route and change that to go to ring group instead of extension. So you remember initially when we created the inbound group for this one, the inbound route, sorry, for this one, we put it to extension 20. Now I'm going to change that and say just take it to ring group, and we have only one ring group now, which is reception. Save, apply changes. Okay, and then we're going to go to status active calls to see what happens. And now I'm going to make a call to the main number, and let's see what's going to happen. So I'm calling now. Okay, something wrong happened. Either I dialed the wrong number, or let me check that I'm calling the right number. I think I know what happened. That 10 seconds was not enough. Let me try again. Maybe. Okay. See, two numbers are ringing. Okay, so basically, the call went to extension 20 voicemail. You heard the default greetings. Of course, you can from your phone change the greeting by dialing *97 and go through the menu. So that's if we take the call to a ring group. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to create an IVR, and the IVR basically is a digital receptionist. So when the call comes in, there will be a message, and I'll go here to call features, IVR. And before I create the IVR, I need the message for the IVR. So that's something I have to create here. don't see voice prompts here. Interesting. Okay, here it's under PPX setting. Voice prompts. So these are the voice prompts that I'm going to create. So I'll say, thank you for calling XYZ company. For reception, please press 1. And for sales, please press 2, for example. So what I'm gonna do is I can record it using a phone. So what I can do is I go to custom prompts and I say create a new custom prompt. What you're gonna call it? I'm gonna call it main. So that's the main IVR, and I'm gonna use extension 20 to record it. So after I hit record, extension 20 will ring, and then I can create my prompt for the IVR. Here you go. Now I'm gonna answer.
Please speak louder to ensure a clear recording.
Hi, you have reached XYZ company. For reception, please press 1. For sales, please press 0. Thank you.
Saved. Goodbye.
Okay, so basically it was saved. And here if we go back, where is it? Should be listed here. Okay, so here's the main message I have recorded. You can re-record it, or you can just listen to it by pressing the play. So it's going to be which extension I'm going to play it on, extension 20. Hi, you have reached XYZ company. For reception, please press 1. For sales, please press 0. Thank you. Oh, actually, I meant to say please press 2, but that's fine. So 1 for reception, 0 for sales. So I'll just go and remember that. Then I go to call features, create an IVR, new IVR. Again, I like the name main because that means this is the first one. Then we can create multiple IVRs. Okay, so while the person listening to IVR here, you decide if he can dial the extension directly, dial a conference, dial whatever. I'll keep it only extension for now. And excuse me, this is time out how many seconds was the system, the IPPX will wait until somebody press the between digits. So if you want to press, let's say in this case it's only 1 digit, but sometimes you need to press more. And here the response time out after 10 seconds, what's going to happen? You can change that. So basically I'm going to do this like, really quickly. So here I'm gonna, where is it? The prompt. This is the mode. It's welcome, the default one. I'm gonna change it to the one I have recorded, which is main. And here, the key pressing events. So if you press 0, I said go to sales, it's gonna be extension 21. And if I hit 1, it's gonna go to the reception, which is extension 20. And here, if you have more options, what happens if it times out, all that stuff, I'm not going to make it complicated now. Just want to like give you the idea of how to use an IVR. Now, of course, after we did all these things, we have to go and change the inbound route again and make it going to, instead of going to ring group, which we changed last time, we're going to make it go to an IVR. And of course, we only have one, which is main. Save, apply. And now I'm going to make a call. It's dialing. Not really sure why is that happening, but Okay. Wow, that's our system. It looks like the SIP trunk disconnected. Wow, I know kind of the reason why. Most likely because I have many devices connected and all of them using IP and trunks and stuff like that. But I'll check one thing here under system information dashboard. So it is registered. Let's go back to the inbound route and see what we have done there. So I'm gonna go call features IVR. So here everything looks fine. Yeah, everything looks fine. Let's go to the inbound route. And here, default mode, it goes to IVR. Yeah, should work fine. Again, as I said, maybe it just because I have like multiple devices like connected to the same network. So maybe the call I'm doing is just going somewhere else. Let me try one more time. Yeah, it's going to another device. Okay, so this one is coming really from our server, from the VoIP trunk. You don't have to worry about this because most likely you're not gonna have like a few PPXs connected to the same trunk and different trunks and all that stuff. But basically, exactly this is what you need to do. Um, So I believe that's it for now. You have learned how to create a trunk, how to create extensions, how to connect a trunk to inbound route, the outbound route, all that stuff. This should get you up and running. And then if you need more sophisticated information, there will be more videos about getting in details about IVRs, ring groups, call queues, having multiple DIDs coming. But again, this is should be enough for you to start working. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can send it to us at info at mkn-group.com. Again, that's info at mkn-group.com. Also, if you're interested in our It's VoIP Time service, very reliable service, you may also contact us. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.